Oh, look, see, technology, it happens. There we go. Good job. Hello, welcome. Oh, hang on, I need to turn that down as I hear myself on a delay. It's never good, is it? I was just reading lovely Elizabeth's message saying how she was looking forward to seeing Alistair in a more relaxed yet highly professional setting. That's highly professional, isn't it? Highly professional. Good morning. What is also professional, obviously, I feel like John Scott today because I've got my shorts on. And I've never actually done a show in shorts, ever before. But yeah, John always used to do shows in shorts and flip-flops. So that's me today. So good morning. Highly professional from about there upwards, really, is what we're looking like today. Now, yes, it is Christmas. 1st of June, pinch punch and all that. Christmas. There are two schools of thought, aren't there, for doing Christmas in June. If you are a crafter, you need the time. So that's why we start Christmas early. I'm not going to keep bombarding you. Don't worry. But I think it's lovely to give people the chance to make in advance. The other thing is, of course, being on lockdown, well, for those that are still locked down, it gives you the chance to get Christmas prepped, done, out the way. And then once you're released back into the world, you can go and do everything that you need to do, knowing that Christmas is done. Christmas is ready and prepped and sorted. So that's why we decided to bring you Christmas on the 1st of June. That, and I think we put this in the diary in January, didn't we, Alistair? Yes, that too. Before lockdown was ever a thing, and we could go wherever we wanted. So it has been in the diary, it has been planned for a long time, and Alistair has brought us some gorgeous, gorgeous things. He's in the building, yay, at a safe distance, obviously. So we've got some Christmassy things, some non-Christmassy things. Oh, we've got the Christmas scent, which is divine. Oh, where is it down here? I keep getting wafts of it. Whoops. If any of you have had our buckwheat before, from House of Alistair, this is the Christmas scent version. It is beautiful. It's Christmas in a
bag.
In a bag, yeah. Christmas in a bag, yes. That's, well, yeah, there you go. A very reasonably priced bag, I would like to think. Absolutely. My husband doesn't go for smelly things at all. If that's a good thing or a bad thing. Just realising what I'm saying there. But at Christmas, that is the smell he likes. And so he insists, like normally we don't have candles or anything like that, but there's a Christmas candle that smells like that we get from a retailer. And that's the only thing that he will ever, plus he's now scared to light any of my candles because they're display purposes only. And he's lit them before and I'm like, no, display purposes only. So he's very wary about candles and the like. Probably for the best. So that is your House of Alistair Christmas scent. It is gorgeous. And when the box arrived with the samples, I knew, I didn't even have to look on the label that it was yours because I could smell it. And I was like, yeah, I know what that is. We have also got, look at these. We've got Santa and his little elf in hot water bottle form. And we've got the kits for those. I mean, they're lovely, aren't they? Just gorgeous. And you get everything that you need to make those. I've got them down here. Well, hang on. Let me show you one of these. Because it's basically sort of same but different for the elf. And you will get instructions. You will get... What's the fluff for? Oh, the feet and the legs.
Yeah.
Feet and legs. I was thinking, what is there? There is top fluffy stuff, a.k.a. fleece. And then... you get all of these goodies, including, look at that, gorgeous little hot water bottle. You get some satin binding, which is beautiful, and ribbon, more ribbon for the belts, felt for the belt, and of course your instructions as well, everything that you need to make yourself your own little Santa's little helper or Santa himself, depending on which one you go for. So these are all on the website. So if you are new to us today and just tuning in going, what's this woman doing with Christmas? www.natashamakes.com details. Yes, I pointed the right way. Finally. It's only taken 6 months. Down there, that's where you can go. Click on watch live. Underneath where you can watch live, everything comes up. It's all there. It's all loaded. You can peruse the website. There's lots of other goodies on there as well. I'm going to put those to the side there for a moment. We also have Dougal the Doorstop. Yeah. Now, Alistair, these are Savile Row swatches that he's made from, aren't they?
Yep, so they're all the Holland and Sherry Savile Row swatches.
I love the Holland and Sherry Savile Row swatches. I've had a few, and I've enjoyed them massively. And you need 100 grams of stuffing though, don't you, for him? So either the buckwheat or.
So you'll need for the Dougal the Draft Excluder, you'll need almost a bag of buckwheat, but in the kit, if you bought the kit, you get the buckwheat with it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't photographed that because it wasn't in the kit that you sent, so I didn't photograph him with it. So you get the buckwheat with him. Okay, he's fabulous. Love him. So he is also on the show today. I'm running out of space. I'm going to pop him over there. He's a proper sausage dog, he is, isn't he? Mm. And then today we also have on the show Arthur and Martha. So these are the little door stoppers. So it's not all Christmas.
No, so for instance, in my house, I like to make things that could be Christmas with a bit of a taste. So all you would need to do is either tie a bow at Christmas round their necks, but stuff that...
a bow tie.
I think it's a shame that when you strip everything Christmas down from your house, it looks really bare, and I can't stand... I go into depression mode in January because I feel as if I've been burgled. It just feels, because it's been such a grotto. It's...
All right, I need to give you some background. For those of you that don't know Alistair spends 3 days putting the decorations up. That's not even to say the planning that goes into it. Now, I've seen the plans. I mean, these are all drawn out beautifully. You had a massive bow on your house this year, didn't you? So,
yes, we had so we had giant candy canes.
That's it, the candy canes with the bows on.
Yeah, and then we had giant wrapped presents, and then we had a massive wreath with... We've got a giant bay tree in our garden, so every year it gets a huge trim, and I use that to create huge garlands, and then it was just studded with baubles and lights and all.
Yeah, so when Alistair takes it down, I mean, that must take you days as well, and that must be very upsetting. But at least then your loft is insulated for the next year.
Well, the thing is, about 3/4 of our loft is dedicated to Christmas, and there is nothing else. And if anyone mentions it in my house, I just have to put my finger up. I don't even have to wave it now.
Oh, okay.
And that's just enough to kill any...
Christmas is your thing.
Exactly.
So the fact that Dougal and Martha can have a bow tie, I think that's very restrained, to be honest.
Well, it is, but I think it's such a shame when you put everything away that you should make things that... well, with all the different checks and stuff like that, they are Christmas-esque, but they will fit into your home decor throughout the year as well.
Yeah, we have a dog door stopper throughout the year. It's all good. It's all good. Now let's see who we've got with us this morning. Oh, we're going to be demoing this. I say we. Yes. I'm going to go and sit over there. Alistair's doing it all this morning. Let's see who we have. Oh gosh, loads of people watching. Good morning to all of you. Emma's very excited because she's not actually met you yet. Laurie's watching, and Barbara's watching, and June's watching, and Helen's watching. Good morning, as is Janet and Alison. Good morning, and Jackie and Gwendolyn and Debbie and Sarah and Jane and Belinda. Good morning. Hello to all of you. And Michelle as well, and Claire. And Heather and Joe, good morning. And Della as well. Oh, from a hot sunny Cornwall. We raised good money for Della last week, so thank you everybody for everyone that bought one of the rainbow quilt patterns. That money has all gone now to Cancer Research UK, so well done. And Polly's there as well. Looking forward to the show. Good. Looking good, Natasha. Well, yeah, it's a look. The old shorts. I don't normally do shorts. Not really a shorts kind of a girl. But it is lovely and warm. Great to see you all. Happy Christmas. Yes, well, thank you very much, Penny. Happy Christmas to you too. And Karen says, hopefully the internet has been fixed. Let's not go there, shall we? Yes. Basically, we've had to change our broadband provider. And at that moment, we lost the show last week, was when they decided to switch everything over. Yeah, but not close the ticket off completely so that we actually had internet. So that was really useful. I've just noticed it's doing something weird again here, which is fun. So, come on. So I'm just not going to mess with it at the minute. You know, you can see stuff. That's good. How much I can then change, I don't know. So good morning to everyone. Gosh, the list goes on this morning. Look at you all. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. So basically I have to... there's a couple of things that I need to say before Alistair comes on. Do take a look at all of the kits. You can buy the instructions or you can buy the kits. It's entirely up to you. We've got beautiful Hessian ribbon. Is that the right term for it? Do we call it ribbon?
It's 100% natural jute.
100% natural jute. And if my thingy starts to work again, then I'll actually be able to show you it in detail. These have got lovely reindeer, but there are photos on the website. And look, you've got the stars there and the hearts. I believe these are exclusive to us for now.
They are, yes.
Oh, yeah. And the thing that I wanted to tell you about as well was with the beautiful, beautiful tartans. They are, because normally, so they're a metre deep and they are 150 wide. Normally our fabric is 44 inches selvage to selvage. So that's what, 50... Anyway, 150 centimetres. Let's go centimetres, shall we? Let's not do maths. And they're not cotton, are they? They're not 100% cotton.
So they're polyviscose.
They're polyviscose, that's it.
But they feel ultra soft.
They do, they really do. They're lovely. And again, I like tartan all year round.
Yeah.
So you've got the purple and green one. You've got the lovely blue one there. I don't know why this is being so slow to load. Oh, this is going to do my head in. Come on, internet. Excuse me. Ugh. I can't change the camera angles. It doesn't want to. Right, so there's your blue there. That's really smart, actually, isn't it?
It's a really intense blue, and with the black, it just offsets. So, for instance, you'll be able to match this with a lot of different colourways. So everyone just looks at blue, but in actual fact, you can put emeralds with this. You can do all sorts.
And you've kind of got your navy. It goes into like a navy as well, and the black. It's really lovely. And I would maybe back a quilt in that. Alistair, if people buy more than one, is this pre-cut or would it be...
It's cut to order.
It's cut to order.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I love this one. Don't normally have a favourite, but I think this might be it. When I was a girl, I had a tartan skirt that was not dissimilar. Yeah, so I've got a bit of love for the old tartan. Do you know, I know you're Scottish, do you know the tartan ancestry of these?
So I don't know... so, for instance, the next one coming up, I know that, well, a lot of people will know that this is Black Watch.
Oh, I've got a jacket out of this.
Yeah.
Lovely.
There's some, so for instance, so we have so my family tartan, I think we have 2 or 3. So we have
It's a bit greedy, isn't it?
Well, we have an everyday sort of tartan, and then you have a dress tartan. My tartan's not, I shouldn't say this really, but I'm not a massive fan of mine because it's a funny green.
Oh.
And yeah. And then every time, so for
is it all a funny green? Your everyday and your dress?
I can't remember. My mum's got this. Obviously, we've got this. You know, it's almost like a. What were those old encyclopedias called?
Encyclopedia Britannia.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That were coveted in the house because your parents had spent an absolute fortune with the man.
Oh yeah. That's it. The man that used to come calling for the Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah.
So literally a bit like that, but one for tartan, and it has everything.
Every tartan.
It has everything in there.
Couldn't you switch another one? Couldn't you just change it a bit?
Well, I've sort of had
it.
political sort of license on quite a bit. So, for instance, my family's for weddings and things like that, they've used Pride of Scotland, which is a beautiful one, which has black with blue and purple in it. It's actually it's really, but it's very, very subtle.
Okay.
But it is so striking when you see it.
That sounds lovely. So, in answer to my question, yes, Alistair is a man who knows his tartan. You see this with bows and things for Christmas, lovely,
Yeah.
but all year round.
And 150 wide, you'll be able to make so many different projects.
I also want just a picnic blanket after it. That's the other thing. You know, we say it's Christmas, but also, you know, yes. Okay. Now then. What else is there? I think. So we've had a look at all the kits. If we want to go through those, just to say that, like, the door stopper kits do come with fluffy stuff, but also in the kits you also get these, which are the pellets, and these are the leftover bits from manufacture. They get melted down and reused. So rather than all of that plastic going into landfill, it's repurposed into these pellets. Because you know what I'm like, you know, it's got to be right. So these would have been landfill. They've been put into, they've been remolded into useful little pellets, which means that you can reuse them after. So if ever you get to a stage where you want to do something different with your door stopper, just take them out, wash them through if you want to, and reuse these. They can be fully recycled, but they never need be. They can just go from project to project to project to project. Yes. Alrighty then. I think. You've got the kits for these two. You've got the kits for the hot water bottles. You've got your fill. You've got your tartans. You've got your lovely ribbons, and you've also got Dougal the door stopper. Woof. So I'm going to come and swap with you, Alistair, in a safe way, and there we go. Pop those chaps there, and I'm going. You know it's Alistair by the size of his scissors. Don't spit your tea out. And I'm going to see if I can get this working so that we can actually have a look at some other angles. I'll just pop off here and then you can pop in there. There we go. Over to you.
Good morning.
It is a good morning.
It is a good morning.
It is.
It's definitely a nice shorts weather today.
I like to think that I said this to you earlier and you looked a bit unsure, that the top that you are wearing is what Father Christmas would wear on his day off in his holidays. That's where I'm at.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, you know, Santa has to have a summer as well.
Well, absolutely, he works hard.
He does.
He works very hard. And you know, he should get a time out. You've done some prepping.
I have. So rather than making everyone sit here and watch me create an entire fabric, so essentially what we're going to do is we'll demo this just to start off, to show everyone how I got to this point. So we're using the Savile Row swatches, and we're creating a grid, and then we cover the edges, the seams, if you like, with cotton tape.
Would you like that to hold that up for a close-up? Because I fixed everything now. Yeah. No, if you hold it up by the...
Sorry.
Yeah.
See, newbie.
That's all right. There we go. So the... it's not cord, it's
Cotton webbing.
Cotton webbing, that's the one. I've lost my words today, I'll find them later. That covers up any seams.
Yeah, and also it's very, very light. Its technical name, if you like, is called apron string. But you can see here, I'm going to hold. It is very, very, very fine, because the thing is,
it's lovely and soft.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
Well, the reason why I do this system, so we're going to use the House of Alistair's bond and repair, and we're also going to use some cotton. So we lay the cotton out first, then we put the bond and repair. Now the bond and repair will glue any two fabrics together.
Yes.
So sometimes with wool, when you seam it, it creates a lot of bulk.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you don't want in the seam, because the more bulk you have, the more bumps and what have you. This keeps the work almost completely and utterly flat.
Arthur and Martha do not need to be bumpy and lumpy.
No.
No, they
Definitely
do not.
not.
I love Arthur because my dog is Arthur.
Yes, he was in earlier. He was saying hello.
He'll be back.
And then he suddenly came round the other side, and I was sort of like thinking, "What's that?" And then I got a paw up my foot, my leg, going, "Oh,
yeah, you'll get that." And it's Eric's birthday today.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's celebrated by pooing on the floor, which was lovely. That was his gift to me, I think.
Nice.
But he's an old boy now, and things aren't quite where we left them. Denise says, Alistair, your patterns are so easy to use and follow. Thank you very much. And Donna would like to know, what size is the hot water bottle?
Okay, so the size of the hot water bottle, it's 500 millilitres, so it's a mini size.
Yeah.
But our hot water bottles are 100% rubber, and they conform to the highest British standards that there are, because there is a lot of controversy.
Yeah, oh gosh, I remember hot water bottle gate. I remember it. And I remember there being some choice language over hot water bottle gate, because no one knew. Hot water bottles seemed like such a good idea, and then nobody realised quite how much there was to a hot water bottle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we'll leave that there.
Yes, I think, yes. Just let's say the current situation we're in with red tape, you haven't seen anything until you've gone through a whole quality assurance
with the hot water bottle,
water
because
bottle.
it contains hot water, therefore is more stringent than anything else.
Took? Sorry, we're having a conversation. How long it took for me to initially get a hot water bottle kit from conception to air?
It's nearly a
year and a half.
Was it a year and a half in the end? Oh my goodness.
But I was determined that people were going to see this hot water bottle kit, because I was not going to. Sometimes I just go, do you know what? It would be lovely. It's really not worth the effort. But
so suffice to say, these are the top quality hot water bottles you could ever possibly imagine.
Exactly.
Alistair's worked very hard to bring said hot water bottles to air.
So you can be rest assured that you know that there is it complies to every single. God, it was
Now, what are
happier days.
Yeah, they're all good, all good fun, all lots of fun. Now then, you are you've got some little swatches there, haven't you?
Yeah. So you guys have had these swatches from us, and you've also bought them from Natasha Makes. So this is one of the small. So I'm using the small books, but if you were to buy the kit, you get enough swatches to complete the project.
Yes.
So this is just a clever way of being able to create your fabric. So I'm not going to be too cheap. So what I've done, I've just cut. Now you can, in the kit you get the cotton, but if you're buying just the pattern, for instance, you could decide to go through your stash and do a flowery summer version if you wanted
yes, you could.
to. And all you need to do is you need to cut up your swatches. Now, from memory, I think each swatch is around about 11.5 centimetres by 10.
You've got a tape measure just in front of you on the table if you need it. If you wanted to measure. Just right in front.
Oh, yes, sorry. I'm looking for an actual tape measure.
I stick it on the desk so that it's always there.
Oh, right,
because I lose it otherwise.
Just like looking at you vacantly. Yes, so 11 and a half. By 10. There we go.
Perfect.
So what you need to do, now I like to do this as completely as randomly as possible, because these swatches are from a very famous wool producer on Savile Row, and they're called Holland and Sherry. Now they are world renowned for the most beautiful wools.
It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I've had a lot of their swatches and a lot of their fabric as well. In fact, I think you were there when I stocked up at it was the Great British Sewing Bee Live, wasn't it?
Oh I
and they had their remnant, their end of rolls. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I had my studio on Savile Row, they every season, because sometimes what happens is a tailor will get the measurements wrong, and they'll order so if they're doing a suit, they'll order probably around about 2.5 meters to 3 meters of cloth. And even though a suit will cost you 3,500 minimum, so I've just seen a magpie, God bless all the magpies. So literally, but the tailors they order the exact amount, and when they cut the suit out, there's literally hardly
Anything left.
anything at all. They're quite, I don't know what it is. It's just that it costs so much. Well, obviously they're not being wasteful. But actually would use that one. See, this is going to be the difficult thing at home, is it's like which ones to actually choose.
Now, you see, Ali said that she loves this method because she made your rucksack from ages ago. She had turned out beautifully.
Oh, yes. And
Diane DeWitt has scissor envy.
oh.
I'm not sure that I could navigate such big scissors.
I'm used to, actually, the scissors I had before, so when I started college, St Martin's gave us this, much to my mother's delight, gave us this kit list that we had to have as first year students.
Oh, yeah. That's extortionate, nearly as much as your fees. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you had to buy from this particular company because that's how they made money. But anyway, so my first pair of scissors were just as big as this, but they were solid stainless steel, so they weighed an absolute fortune. And but I mean, when you're doing a couture gown or something like that, you're not constantly using them. But these ones, they cut through about 60 layers of fabric, and these are really, really lightweight.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
But the thing is, it's always just to get. Oh, and just a little insider tip. So, if you find this goes across any brand of scissors, if you find that using your scissors, if you're cutting out a lot of quilt things and you get that part becomes sore because that's where. So what you need to do with that, the best thing to do is any scraps of cotton velvet, or any scraps of fleece. That would be a good one to use. And what you do,
bind it round.
You bind it round.
Do you know how I know that? Because my grandmothers are bound.
That's exactly why.
And she was a seamstress. Yeah.
And what that does is that cushions against the you're using it. So that's it.
Gosh, that's taken me back.
Yeah. It's amazing because literally you'll go into Savile Row and literally you'll see all these scissors with some really, it looks like manky bandages.
Yeah. Oh, love. You need a fresh one on there.
And they've literally been on there for years.
This is a thing, isn't it? So for those of you that don't know, Alistair and I have been friends for years. Well, there's no reason why anybody should know that really, but we have been. So that's why, firstly, it's lovely to be able to finally have you on Natasha Makes. And the other thing that I would also like everybody to know is also a big thank you to you as well, because when I first dreamed up this crazy idea of having my own channel, you were the first person I spoke to about it, and you didn't laugh me out of town. You said, "How can I help?" Which was amazing, and you've been there throughout and given me sound advice all the way through. So before we get going on the demo, I'd like to say thank you, first of all.
My pleasure. And
Natasha Makes is here largely because of your help and support. And the other thing is, obviously a lot of you have bought House of Alistair stuff. And the other thing I just wanted to talk about very quickly, and I didn't actually tell you I was going to do this, but at Sewing Quarter, I know some people had issues with postage, and I would like to put that straight, because at Sewing Quarter, the way that they did dropship there, and that means coming from the supplier, they would fulfill all of their orders in their warehouse first, so it could well be 10 days before you even got those orders. So I would just like to put that straight. That was never actually your fault. And that was never, I couldn't say when I was there, but I would like to put that straight now, so that those people that were cross about that then need to know that was out of your control and nothing that you could do. So I just want to put that to bed. So there we go. And Elizabeth says, "What a lovely man." Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Are you in the area?
Elizabeth is, I want to say Worcestershire way. What's this?
Is that Elizabeth Kringle?
Yeah, Crangle.
Krangle, sorry.
Kringle. Yeah.
I think she's the lady with the Scottish husband, I think.
Is John Scottish, Elizabeth? I don't know. I'm sure she'll tell us because they're watching.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a delay, so you'll probably be...
Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when the delay comes through. But Helen Law's husband is Scottish, and when they've been clapping on a Thursday, he's been out with his bagpipes.
Nice.
Yes. He's very good, actually. I listened. But note to self, don't actually watch with the volume up when you're trying to get your daughter off to sleep. Bagpipes will wake a small child.
Mm-hmm. So will a 11-year-old with your best pan outside the front. At least it was the best one. At least I wasn't shown up by the,
Oh, no. You know, the one that still had the odd crispy bit on it.
So what I've done, so I'm just going to quickly do 4, just to, if anyone hasn't done this technique before. Now, obviously you make sure that your repair and bond goes right to the edges. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm using tissue paper.
Yes.
This will be your friend.
Okay.
Now, if you've bought one of the posh pressing mats, and we've got a surprise about that as well. But literally, if you bought one of our pressing mats, the best way to... No, we've got the cotton on the back, so the fusing or the bond and repair isn't anywhere near it. But to save your iron, so I place tissue over the what I'm going to do.
If you have
fusing.
the Mist Diffuse sheets, the Goddess sheets, then you can use that.
Are those silicone?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Just make sure, the only thing I would say about those,
yeah.
and this is only speaking from experience, is please, when you take that sheet off,
yeah,
have a kitchen, I call it a scourer.
Scourer. Yeah.
So take one of those and lightly put it there and brush off the table and get rid of any residue glue that may still have clung to it, because the last thing you want when you reuse that mat, when you use it again, you will end up with a blob of glue somewhere you don't want.
On these, it comes off, it peels off.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't. They're brilliant. That's why I use them, and they also have a curved edge, the top right hand side, so you never get confused and pop it on the wrong way round.
Okay.
So they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant, and I've been a big advocate of them to the extent that Mist Diffuse have now sold out of them, and we're trying to get them back into the country. But they're a small family-run business in New York that have had to be shut down.
Oh.
So for now, the only stock I have of the Goddess sheets is all I have. So if you don't have a Goddess sheet, get yourself some tissue paper until the Goddess sheets come back in. Do we have any of Alistair's paper templates in the 1.5" hexagons? Yes, Janet, on the website. They'll be on there. And Fiona says that she's really excited to hear about the pressing mats. Should we tell them?
Well, go on, you do.
Hang on. You do your mid-demo, right. So you do what you need to do demo-wise.
So, that you can see here on the tissue. Now, I've just literally, because obviously I have no acid-free tissue left in my studio at the moment, I've raided my son's craft cupboard, and you can pick tissue up from...
I've got some in there you could have had.
Oh. Yeah. And you go, well, yeah, yellow, it's a brighter colour. So literally, now you can see this, you can see that I've got all of that. Now, all you need to do, because I can see that line, I'm then going to... This will save you a lot of tearing off if you cut this now. And tissue paper is fine to use with your dressmaking shears because it is so fine.
Yeah, because I did gasp quietly to myself.
It's like the one thing I would never cut is I would never cut pattern cutting paper, and I would never cut because we use, when we're formalising a pattern, we use a much thicker, almost like a card.
Yeah.
And that's a big no-no. That's a big
no-no.
So then you can see how simply I'm just going to, now you just want it to add here. I just take this off.
Does Tommy know that you've stolen all of his art products?
I was going to say he does now, but he isn't because he's just gone back to school.
Oh, has he gone back to school today? Oh, that's all right. Then you're safe.
Exactly. So our house is
Quiet.
It is. We've got no Nintendo blaring out
Anything.
It's going to be.
Freddie went this morning, but only until midday. Then he's got to come home again because I can't do lunch.
Oh.
They're not set up
Ours
for
have all
lunch.
got packed lunches going in.
Oh no, they weren't quite ready for that yet.
Oh.
Lots of people recommending the mats. Yeah, the mats are amazing.
Yeah.
So, I'm bursting now to tell everybody. They have been out of stock.
Yes.
They are coming back into stock, and we are going to have a new colourway, which is going to be exclusive to Natasha Makes, and we're going to have 2 sizes, which is super exciting. Hurrah! 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 And are they being made as we speak?
They. I'm just waiting on the extremely expensive posh wool that's coming from a company that has a royal warrant, and they actually manufacture the wool that they make all the Queen's Guards dress outfits from.
Yes.
They are. Yes.
They're the real McCoy, aren't they? They're super, super swanky. And the new colourway is like a bluey grey colour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very it's very it's a very, very subtle, so it's not
like a misty grey.
Yeah, it's a very evocative colour is what I would say.
Ooh. I've never heard it described like that before. So we are sewing.
Yes, sorry, I just jumped ahead of you.
No. Sew away.
Just thought I'd, give you something extra to do with your. So what I'm doing, so you can see that obviously we've taken the tissue off, and we just want the bond and repair. Now you can use, if you wish, a temporary adhesive glue spray. Or you can use one of those glues which you can just lightly dot in the corners, and then you can heat seal that. That's entirely up to you. Or you can pin, or you can baste. It's entirely up to you.
Up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen says, I've got to get some of the black watch. Very nostalgic tartan in my family as my granddad was in the regiment. Thanks, Alistair. And do we know what proportion is viscose and what's what?
I will. I haven't got my notes with me, but I will definitely find that out. But it's.
I will let you know. There we go.
It's mainly viscose.
Lots and lots of love for the mats. Now, with the new ones, we're going to have 2 sizes. One is going to be like a smaller size, and the other is going to be the same size as the black one, or slightly smaller.
No, so
I can't remember what we decided.
So
in the
everyone
end.
that bought the big one, so we worked out. We
had to do maths.
Yeah, so the where we cut these out, we had to do a series of different lays, which just means we put the templates down to figure out how we're going to cut
most
them.
out of it. Yeah.
And we were able to keep the mats exactly the same size. So if you've bought the black one, and if you were buying one for a friend, or you just decided that you want the other colour as well, because for instance you might have a holiday home, like a caravan that you go to, and you don't want to constantly take your mat. Plus also you might be frightened about losing it in terms of if you're flitting from place to place. So yes, they're all the same size. And the mini one, the best way to describe the size, because it truly is the size of an A4 sheet of paper. It's A3, sorry.
Okay.
Not
yeah.
A4. A3.
That'd be truly
Sorry,
mini.
I'm trying to work out Natasha's juki machine here, because it's got all these
buttons, newfangled buttony bits.
Yes,
what do you want?
I just...
Scissors. There you go. Oh, press it again.
Lower foot. Oh, here we go, yeah. Okay.
Ta-da!
Okay, so...
Alistair just looked at it this morning and said, I'm used to an industrial darling. It just does straight stitch. What do I do?
Exactly. Because everyone asks me, are you happy using the 5E1?
I wouldn't give you a choice.
As if I know what that actually is. But yes, I'll just say, as long as it shows a straight line, I'm fine. So literally, you can see here, I've attached one, and I'm going to attach another one. Now, you can be I've just done this by eye, but you can use one of your edge feet if you want to get a really crisp edge. Now, with the tape, because it is woven, it's not cut and then heat sealed, because it is 100% cotton, the tape.
Yeah.
So you can go as close to the edge as possible because it won't fray.
It's not going to fray, no. The other way to possibly get it down if you wanted is with double-sided quilter's tape.
Yes.
If you wanted to do that as well. That just occurred to me because I had to buy some more the other day, having had to make 20 pencil cases for Freddie to go back to school with. Not just for him, like he's not, for all the children that are going back, because they have to have wipe down pencil cases. They have to wipe all the pens and pencils down at the end of the day. I know, right? So 20 pencil cases was how I spent odour coating every single one different, odour coating them so that they could all be wiped clean at the end of the day. 20 zips, 20, 20, 20, 20. Actually 21, because Freddie then looked at the William Morris fabric and went, Mrs. Everly would love that. You sell a lot of that, don't you, Mummy? It must be popular. It's like, oh. Spot who's had his school seat in the corner of my workroom.
Yes, it's amazing when they come back at you and they go,
and what they take in, and you don't realise they've taken in. Freddie chose a K Facet one. I was quite proud of him. He's like, I want that one, Mummy.
Yeah, my little one knows William Morris and knows the Strawberry Thief. And
Yeah.
knows, just
they do, don't they?
The ins and outs. And you're just like, gosh, you are listening. The funniest thing though was, for instance, he does what I call pound jobs down at the studio to earn a little bit extra pocket money. Well, to be honest, it's to keep him occupied and
out of trouble. Yeah.
And literally, he goes, "So, Daddy, how much do you sell these for?"
Oh, yeah, they want to know everything, don't they?
And as the conversation went on, I said, "Are you?" Because I'm working out. Because if you're selling it for that, then I should get this.
And that's how we teach them percentages.
Yes. I'm like, okay. Well, he's got a thing on. So this is how you create the fabric.
So you make your own fabric before you even start.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
And this way, it means that, for instance, you can choose all your different textures and different colorways. And using this tape, if you look at how rough it looked, if you like, when it was all just glued down with all the edges, putting some pretty tape. Now, you could use bias binding on this. You could use floral bias binding.
Nice.
You could just use anything that you wanted. For instance,
if only we knew where you could get 50 meters of bias binding from.
But the cotton bias binding, the centerfold, is the bias binding you need to use, because when you're edging something, because it's centerfold, it means you've got double the fabric as a barrier to the fabric you're bonding between.
Yes.
So it means that you don't get as much or any transfer that comes back out from the side. But for instance, if you're doing a much larger version, you could even...
Or like a tree skirt, tartan tree skirt with duty stuff.
Yeah, you could do absolutely...
Get me with the technical terms.
Exactly.
Actually, that's going to be gorgeous on your Christmas wreaths, isn't it? That the jute stuff.
Yeah. And what you can do as well with this, now this isn't wired, but for instance, there is, what you can do is you can actually use really fine beading wire, and you can actually sew that through yourself.
Yes.
If you wanted to add a bit. Now, the easiest way I would do that is I would go on the edge, I would go through, under, but over.
Right, okay.
So, but use one that's a really neutral, fine colour.
Yeah.
And then you can do all sorts.
Now, Rachel says, good morning, good Monday morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So pleased to see Alistair on air this morning. I watched his amazing demo of making ties the other day. Yes.
Oh,
Please,
yes.
can we have him doing that on Natasha Makes? It'd be lovely to see it in its entirety. And with the lack of time pressure and interruptions your setup allows. She would watch you for hours.
Yeah. Well, you might be in the minority there. But yes, no, of course I will. It's actually that was one of my first jobs when I had my studio on Savile Row.
So not everyone knows this about you, but this is and this is why we can bring you all of these sort of Savile Row swatches, and you have your sources on Savile Row because you used to be on Savile Row. You were a tailor on Savile Row. I mean, you have good credentials. It would be fair to say.
Yes, I mean, so I've worked with Holland and Sherry over the years, and I'm the only person that is allowed to buy their swatch books. So a swatch book technically is so. For instance, when the tailors would go to New York or Japan or places like that, because Savile Row it goes to meet its clients. It doesn't just have them come on board back in. And literally, they would take this swatch book, and this is how the customer will choose. They'll look at their skin tone, they might look at a particular shirt they're wearing or something like that, and then they will select the fabric that they actually want the suit made out of. So these were hundreds and hundreds of tailors. These before they get to you, these have been...
They're well travelled.
They are. And they're called traveller sets.
There we go.
In the business, and that's an easier way. So, but then you have the bigger swatch books, which are actually kept in house. So those are kept so that you can show the customer a larger swatch in the studio. But yeah, it's a very interesting place and steeped in history. In fact, there's a so sorry. I'll just talk while I'm doing the boring cutting out bit.
Well,
so
no, that's all right.
So I'm just cutting out my Arthur fronts and backs and the gusset. There's only 3. One thing I should have mentioned.
Did you need to pattern match anything anywhere?
No, this is this is what. So, for instance, the wilder you can be with the sort of, let's do a Westwood on this one.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. So we are.
What's a Westwood?
Vivian.
Oh, right. I'm with you. I'm like, what?
So, for instance, like she has her own Harris tweeds. So,
yes, of course she does. Yeah,
exactly. So
I've got one of hers.
Yes. So and she loves just mixing and matching all the different colours, tones, and what have you. And the best way is do not think too much about where you actually put your pattern. In my opinion, this is how I've designed it. That you literally ad hocly stick. For instance, that is nowhere on the straight or what have you, and it certainly doesn't match that. But when you actually see them,
oh, sorry, put them a bit out of reach.
When you actually see them together, they're not all in the same place. But I think the cat's a bit more. So you can see here. So that's going in there. That's coming across there, and it's just a nicer way because it adds even a greater texture to
and interest. Yes.
The only one I've really matched is obviously Dougal because he's a long sausage affair. So he matches.
Yes, he does.
So, I'm just cutting out that. So there's a very famous, there's 2 very famous people. So there's Hardy Amy's. Now, when I had my studio in Savile Row, I was in number 13. And Hardy Amy's was a couple of doors down from me. Now, Hardy Amy's was couturier to our Queen.
Right.
And also another gentleman, Norman Hartnell, designed a lot of the Queen's outfits, especially for when they went on the grand tour of the Commonwealth and things like that.
I thought she just had like one outfit in every colour.
No, I mean it was all designed specifically for her, and actually some of the notes on the thing, so some of the embroidery were the indigenous flowers of the Commonwealth country she actually went to visit. everything is meticulously thought out. So the Queen's wardrobe reflects the country it's all the amount of detail that goes into producing a wardrobe for
her Madge.
Yeah, even what she wears is thought out in meticulous detail.
You see, you never get to see that though, do you? Because you only ever see her from a distance. And so you don't get to see it. It's such a shame, really. You don't get to see all of that beautiful detailing.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely full. But so I became friends with a couple of the designers that used to work in the thing. And when the boss was out, they used to let me come into Hardy Amy's. Because
have a little rootle around.
The thing is, I was just because they didn't really like Norman Hartnell and the Queen's Couturier and Hardy Amy's, who was like on Savile Row, was the first women's couturier, but was huge.
Yeah,
like everybody
yeah.
and anybody that had a gown or outfit made from Hardy Amy's was doing all right. Like,
yeah.
But literally, so they took me up in the building. When you go in. So they call them salons. So they had all the different salons. It's a menswear tailors now. It doesn't really do any women's wear now, but you just see the remnants of all the old things. So when you go into this building, so this building, not only is it on Savile Row, but it has a back entrance that goes out to a courtyard, which is full of restaurants now. But that backs onto Regent Street. So it's got a back entrance. It's the only building on Savile Row that has.
And is that so they could get your VIPs in and out without people necessarily seeing?
Well, that was one. There was an alternative exit, but this story is about Hardy himself.
Right.
So, for instance, so I went upstairs, and they have every copy of Vogue from the beginning.
Oh, no way.
And they're all archived in this room. So you go up to the top salon, and you can just imagine the parquet floors and chandeliers.
Oh, beautiful.
And they would have all the well-to-do ladies sat, and the fashion show then, they would parade that season's collection on the models, and then the ladies would choose what they wanted. Anyway, so between that studio and the other salon, there's like this sort of like almost like bridge room where all this archive stuff's kept, and I'm just sitting there flicking through, and there's like a little banquette, and there's a window that overlooks the grand staircase and what have you. So Hardy Amy's, when somebody wanted a bill paying, he used to be in this central room, and what happened was when he saw them coming up the stairs, he would exit into the other studio, down the other staircase and out through onto Regent Street and disappear into Soho.
Go, that was it.
And he would just leave the building. So that's a little funny story about Hardy.
Sonia, the pressing mats, we've covered pressing mats. They are coming back. They're coming back in an exclusive colourway to Natasha makes, which is very exciting, and in 2 different sizes. So they will be back soon. Someone asked if we could put them on pre-order. Don't see why not.
Don't see why not.
I'll leave that to Emma and SJ and the gang to see that. Jenny Clear is watching. Good morning, Jenny. How lovely to have your company. That pup of yours has got ridiculously big, I have to say. She's got a gorgeous puppy. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, yeah. Ali says that she's going to remember that phrase next time her quilting doesn't match. It creates texture. I thought you were going to say, no, it's just Westwood, darling. Just Westwood.
Just Westwood.
I'm going to use that excuse.
It is, well, you got to... It's just one of those things. You just got to keep going.
What are you doing? What are you saying?
Oh, right, sorry. Sorry, I was just chatting among ourselves here. So I am attaching to the gusset. So on your pattern, you've got a start and a stop.
Right.
And this part here, this section here, is where you insert the gusset, which allows... should be better showing you with it. So this gives you this... opens them up and makes them 3D.
Right.
So it gives him the sort of like the block bottom, if you like.
I would like to call it his tummy. I don't like the word gusset. It's not my favourite word. I'll be honest.
Okay. His tummy.
It's just one of those words. We've all got those words that we don't like.
Well, it's just like, for instance, it's just like if you're letting something out and someone just goes, I'll just stick a gusset in it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, oh, I need a gusset. You know.
You're getting the hang of this sewing machine, aren't you? Look at this, Alistair.
Just about. Although
Oh no, have I just jinxed it?
you have, because every time I stop the pedal, the foot flings up.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Did you not want it to do that? I can change that.
Let's. Oh
If you
dear.
it's just so that you can go around corners and not have to keep lifting it. But whenever you put your foot back on the pedal, it'll go back down again. It's my posh sewing machine. Oh, which are back in stock, by the way. So anybody who put in their order over the weekend, June the 1st, I promised you, June, that the DXM would be back in stock. And it is indeed back in stock. So those of you that have been waiting, they are back on the website. They are back and they're on their way. Elizabeth's laughing her head off. Oh, hang on. You did say what your surname was. I want to say it was Sinclair, but I've got to scroll back. Scrolling. Geraldine's ordered Arthur.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, when can we get Alistair's lavender scent back in? Alistair, what's the deal with the old lavender at the minute?
Lavender, we have had.
You're right there.
Lavender is. We've just received a really, really big shipment.
Oh, have you? Good.
And yes, so it will be ready to. It's good to go,
Okay.
as they say in America.
Okay.
It is good to go.
So we can. Oh, you see, Adele doesn't like the word frock.
That's a funny one.
Yeah, I've not heard that as a, like normally the ones that come out are gusset and moist and stuff like that. And you
Oh,
just
I
sort
tell
of
you
go,
the one I don't like, and anyone who's Scottish will get this. I hate the word. No, anyone that's not, I'm not going to actually say what it means. Oxters. Do you know what your oxters are?
No.
Your armpits. We call them oxters. I don't know why, but I've grown. And there's another one, but it's too gross to mention before because everyone's
Before
just
lunch.
exactly.
Ginny's enjoying the fun while she cools down after a walk with the dogs. Frock in French means trousers. Oh. Oh, Emma says, can she load the lavender then? And how many can we load? She's on it with the old lavender.
God.
Great. This is how efficient my team is, Alistair. You say it, they'll load it.
Let's just so that
Not to put you on the spot
no,
or
I'm
anything.
trying to think about how many.
How big are your bags?
They're about.
A question you
They're
get
about
asked
100
every day, isn't it?
Um,
You don't like to boast.
no. You should be fine putting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Emma, if you didn't see that lip reading, I'll text you now. Crunch gives Gemma's daughter the heebie-jeebies.
Crunch.
Crunch. Yeah.
Ooh.
Karen says, Alistair, I nearly choked on my tea. I haven't heard that word for years. Not crunch, oxters. But can you please say it in your Scottish accent?
Oxters.
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 I can't do a Scottish accent. Oh, yeah. John is a Sinclair. This is what Elizabeth says. We're not married. Oh, living in sin, Elizabeth.
Best
Trial
way.
period to see if we like each other. 31 years so far. Well, do you know what, Elizabeth? After lockdown, if you can make it through lockdown,
Well, I think anyone can survive if you've been in the house with each other. That
there's there've been a few casualties, including the lady at the post office. She's not happy because she's got her brother living with her. Yeah, that's been one. So every day when I take your post down, I get the update. It's all good fun. I know all the gossip from the post office people now. They're the only people I've seen through lockdown, Alistair. The other side of a screen.
that's the thing. It's because where we are, we've with obviously with social distancing and things, we've it's been especially with the post guys, because the post coming out of London, I mean, we saw pictures of the hubs. I mean, it's at crisis point. It is just literally, there is just hundreds upon hundreds of, and that's not because big companies aren't sending out mail.
No.
Because I mean, our post, like mail post, like normal post, don't hardly receive anything these days, you know, about anything. But obviously with everyone shopping online and things, it's really...
I think we forget that, you know, that it is also, with the post at the moment, it is also postcode dependent as well. We are less crowded where we are up here, but because you are London, you, like you say, and it is in sort of crisis point, it's, yeah, it's all tricky, isn't it?
I mean, hats off to them and all the couriers and stuff like that. I mean, they have been genuinely absolutely amazing at bringing stuff to us and stuff like that. Because I mean, it's not a job that I don't think anybody would like, but they've been keeping everybody going and entertained at home and stuff like that. So good on them, because I don't think they always get a shout out sometimes.
Our postman here is absolutely lovely.
Is this Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey the Post, and Mickey the Post is fabulous, and he used to play for Coventry Football Club. He was, and then he got injured, and they got rid of him within 2 weeks. That was that, back in the day. So Freddie's very excited. He always tries to get him to play football. This is before social distancing. And the dogs like him because he always brings snacks for the dogs. So we like Mickey the Post. And he always just signs for everything for me. He's very amenable like that. Elizabeth employed John for 24 years. Oh, that's all right then. He's useful as well. This is brilliant. Very good. Very good. And Diane says that her boy would shudder if I said, keep your eyes peeled.
Oh yeah, that's one.
I think when you think about it, it is a bit of a weird saying, isn't it? You're thinking about it.
I am thinking about it because it's one of those things that you think, you know, where do some of these sayings come from?
I don't know. Sonia says, thank you for making my day. Love the show, especially with Alistair. Made quite a few of his projects.
Very nice.
More of Natasha makes, so family friendly. Oh, my family's back at school. Oh, this is looking good. Well, I mean, inside out, but looking good.
So you can see that we've sewn the gusset. And one thing to remember, which I didn't because I was too busy yapping, was to leave a opening so you can turn it through. So I'm just going to leave the opening now.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to think that you can make the mistakes so we can all learn.
Exactly.
I've done worse.
It's just I was so proud that I had worked out that I didn't have to keep pressing the button to put your foot down every time I was sewing. That I thought, and then I just thought, I'm just going to go with this. Not leaving a hole, but now we've got one. Right, so...
Ginny says that she leaves a blackboard at the front door and writes her posties and couriers a wee thank you message every day.
Oh.
3 cheers for Pitten Weem. Is that a place? I'm guessing that's a place.
Must be.
It sounds Scottish. As does the name Mackay.
Oh, so I went to school. This is, speaking of like names, where you would think that. So where would you think my friend Manuel Santos Fernandez? But the thing is, he was so proud of his name and his family and everything like that. You had to call him by his full name, and after a while, and after a few sherries, it just got a bit boring. After a while, you just say, "Oi, Manuel." So you can see that we've stitched it all together.
Yep, we've left a gap.
We've left a hole, convenient hole there, just so that we can pull the work through. So now that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to...
oh, hang on, it helps if I actually... there you go, I'm too busy chatting
too.
Sorry, you can't get
I would
the
do it
staff.
myself, but I don't have the iPad. God help you if I was. Right,
I can't get any staff right now.
So we just pull the whole thing through.
Now, Alistair, I need to explain something.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth says that her brother moved to Scotland and he thought everyone thought his name was Ken. He kept saying, "No, I'm Paul." And she said that you would explain.
Say again.
When her brother moved to Scotland, she kept saying that everyone thought his name was Ken. He kept saying, "No, my name's Paul." Is there a pet name or something that people use in Scotland that sounds like Ken?
Well, we say I didn't ken, which means I don't understand.
Ah. Oh, so he would have gone up with an accent that no one understood.
So that's. I hope that's where you'll let us know. But I didn't ken.
Oh, hang on. Tim knows. To keep one's eyes peeled means to be alert and observant, yeah. This seems an odd phrase, but dates back to the 1820s in Britain. I love our viewers. They know everything. When Sir Robert Peel established the first organised police force.
That makes sense
that
then,
makes
because
sense.
it doesn't actually make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. The officers were known as peelers or bobbies. In the 1850s, it was when it was changed to keep your eyes peeled. Oh, well done, Tim. Brilliant. Claire wants to know why I don't sound Scottish.
Claire wants to know.
Why you don't sound Scottish? He does if you ask him.
You see, there's a huge. So so I come from a wee place called Rossi on the west coast of Scotland called the Isle of Bute, so when I was about 8 years old, the west coast accent is a very soft. The Glaswegians would say it was a posh accent, but it's just softer, and you understand more of it. Whereas when we're angry, every Scot goes into Glaswegian mode, and
absolutely.
And then literally everyone just runs for the hills, because when you've got a mad Scot on your hands, you don't want to be. It's come in handy quite a few times, but literally, my parents then moved to the northeast, so we didn't have my younger sister, because she was about 3 or 4, and she was still with mum and dad during the day and stuff like that, so she didn't lose her accent. But then my elder brother, he's a complete Geordie now.
Is he?
Yeah, he is no.
He's gone as well.
Yeah, he is no. He is no Scottish twang left in him really whatsoever.
No, see, my mum left Scotland because she lived in Glasgow until she was 11, and then she moved down to Seaford, which is where she is now, and so she sounds a bit like me. Only I've got a little bit more of a Midland twang than she has. But I took her to Glasgow for her birthday one year. Within half an hour, who is this woman? I don't understand a word she's saying. She'd gone back full on Glaswegian on me. And as I was in my 20s, I just, you just look at someone that you've known your whole life, and I was like, well, you look the same, but what is going on? What is going on? So when you go back up, do you pick it up like that?
Yeah, I start, or even annoying. Well, my family in London, they just laugh, because whenever I'm on the phone to my mum, they're like, that's just so not
day to day.
I don't realise I'm doing it. It just goes back, but it doesn't always happen with every Scot that I meet, because the thing is. Because they don't realise I actually am Scottish, they might think I'm taking the mickey by then trying to, which in some cases, you don't want to anger a Glaswegian with them thinking that you're taking the mickey, because then you won't get a chance to explain before you get buttered.
Yeah, Karen says that your soft accent was pan loaf. back in the day. I have no idea. I hope it's all right reading out all of these. It's like another language. I have no idea. No idea.
It's like quite a nice phrase if you wanted to call somebody like an idiot or something, which you, oh, he's a right bowhead.
All right, what?
Bowhead.
Okay. I'm just going to nod and say yes.
Yeah.
I can't do accents anyway. My friend Emma Claire is half Scottish, half Canadian. So she's got a really interesting accent.
Yeah,
Her parents are Scottish but moved over to Canada as soon as they were married to start a new life.
See, a lot of people think I'm Welsh.
Oh, no.
Which I don't understand. I think it's the dark hair, the dark features, because a lot of people from Wales are quite dark. But yeah, I get mistaken because when I say, well, guess where I'm from, because they say, where are you from? And then you see, to finish that story, then I moved down to London because I worked, as a student, I worked for, when I was at college, I worked for Burberry on Bond Street. So you had to speak in a certain way.
The Queen's English.
Exactly. So one had to go to finishing school.
Oh, did you?
Well, I didn't, but I tell everyone I did.
You may just as well have done. Oh, Jeanette says that her son has autism and takes things very literally. Over the years, it's been amazing how many odd phrases we use every day. Killing himself laughing. Son asks, did he die? Let the cat out of the bag in hot water. That's just it, isn't it? We do take these things for granted, don't we? Diane's just relieved that she can now explain to her son why keeping your eyes peeled is less painful than originally thought. Karen's just laughing her head off. Or heed the boar. Is that right? What does that mean?
You're right, heed the boar.
Okay.
It means you're... I'm trying to think of the most polite way of... Well, there's a few choice words you would normally use to describe these people. But, for instance, you know, like...
I don't know who these people are. Who are these people?
So, for instance... let's just say particularly like know-it-all men that know everything about everything. And you know those random people, I seem to get them. These random people, and you think, teacher, because you'll see them in a supermarket and they're trying to organise everybody into particular what have yous. Or you can just, because I've got all my family, most of them are all teachers or what have you.
And then you married a teacher, to be fair, as well.
Well, there's all of these...
So you're a glutton for punishment there.
Yeah, so my mum was a head teacher, primary head, and you just had education.
Ooh.
But a good education in terms of... My mum was never like a pushy mum that sort of like... She recognised her individual kids' talents and then went with that. Because my mum wanted to be an air hostess.
Hang on. How do you go from air hostess to teacher and then dame?
Well, you
how does that
see,
work?
you young ladies nowadays don't know how lucky you are, because in those days, my mum was really bright. So my mum did higher... She went to university early because she did her O-levels and what have you before, and then she went to university, and she was really young when she did all that. But she did a higher Latin. She was doing French. God. And in those days, you had to speak 2 languages. You had to be really like you had to be of a particular... You had to have a university sort of like degree and these languages to become an air hostess.
Crikey.
You couldn't just... Because the clients you were meeting who could afford to fly...
Oh, yeah, I guess.
You had to be... you had to be of that. But in those
they'd probably be wearing Savile Row suits as well.
They would have been.
Yeah.
And of course, my mum, you know, into the Rolling Stones and stuff like that, she wanted to see the world, and, you know, she wanted to be an air hostess. In those days, you had to get your parents' permission. You couldn't just do it yourself. No, you had to have your parents' permission. So that put the kibosh on that, because my gran said to my mum, she says, "What do you think I'll feel with you all the way up there and me all the way down here?"
Let me know then. Are we putting any pellets in said Arthur?
We are. I'm just stuffing him in the right areas.
Which are those? Tell us the right areas, Alistair.
So the right areas to do, because the pellets... so the stuffing acts... You don't need the pellets on the top.
No.
So we start stuffing the head.
Yeah.
And the trick with all stuffing is to add a little bit at a time and just keep adding. Take your time with it, because if you add a massive, great big clump, then you suddenly wonder why you've got like a big sort of bump here, and then you've got another mini bump there and another bump there. So literally that's what you do. And then you want to stuff the tail. Now the beans will disperse and they'll go everywhere that you need them to go to.
Because you can sort of keep them in a bag, can't you, in case you ever want to take them back out again?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, if you wanted to create a little calico bag inside here, my tip with that would be is to use a really fine voile. Or something very, very lightweight to create the bag out of, because that'll allow the beans to move still.
Yeah.
If you put it in something like calico or cotton, they will sort of like lump in one bit, and then, for instance, the wadding might sort of like work its way that way, and then you don't end up with anything in the corner.
Oh no, just stuff them all in them. That's fine. And he's going to. Oh hello, wandering off.
I've just
there's some
beans
down behind you there. Go on, have a little look in there.
I did have them in my suitcase. Do you have a piece of A4 card or something, or do you have a funnel?
Yes, I did. Whether I've got it in here, I can't remember. But otherwise, if you go over to there, there's just underneath the camera there. There's some nice A4 there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
no rubbishy A4 here. I'll let you know. It's all posh stuff.
Right. Oh, sellotape.
Oh, you're finding your way around.
I know, it's almost as if, I've been here before. So I'm going to make what you can do is you can, to create your funnel, you just curl up an A4 sheet of paper. Don't worry about the hole at the minute. That's not the important bit. You can create that in a second. And then I'm just going to put some sticky tape on the join. Now, this is where, again, caution, because you'll end up doing this a few times. If you go, all right, that's a big hole, I need a big hole, and you go, you'll end up with such a massive hole that you do it. So, little and often.
Little at a time, absolutely.
So, I reckon I need a little bit more.
Oh.
See that?
You can always take more off, you can't stick it back on.
Exactly. So, I'm then going to, now this might be quite embarrassing, and because this usually is a two-person job, because remember that time we were filling something and...
Oh, everywhere?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I spilled it everywhere.
Must have ended up on the floor. But you remember the steamer demonstration? Or we nearly electrocuted ourselves that day, didn't we?
We've had some fun shows.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is going swimmingly by comparison.
That was really bad.
That was really bad. It had a leak, didn't it?
Well, I pressed the wrong button, which was the evac button, which you don't want to do.
Whilst mid-steam, all this water started coming out of it. I didn't realise you'd done it. I thought we had a faulty one.
But because the water was on a tilt, the table was on a tilt, but all the electrics were down at the bottom, which were all live, and I'm sort of like even getting my shirt and sort of going like this, trying to keep and
discreetly
trying to, and no one's picking up. The cameraman's looking somewhere else, isn't he?
Oh dear, yeah. Now, Jeanette says it's a brilliant fun show, and our Scottish language has fabulous words. It's too early for morning for most of them, though.
It is, yes.
This is we've got a lot of Scottish viewers, actually, an awful lot, and I think because some areas are so remote, craft shops are scarce. So we provide that service for you. You're right there. Oh, so a knitting needle.
Oh yes, sorry.
Derek the Dobber to help it down.
Or if you have a bit of dowel or even a garden cane, because obviously if you can't get one, but the dobbers are perfect, and you just keep the trick is to keep the stick inside here, and then come out and not let it come all the way out, because then the beans just clog up and then you end up in a really, really, really big mess.
Alistair, which bit of Isle of Bute were you from?
So, which part?
Yeah.
So I was...
Fiona's from Rothsea?
Right, so Rothsea is the capital.
Have I said that right?
Yeah. So Rothsea is the capital. And then I was halfway round, my mum will tell me off, because I'll get it wrong, but we were not quite as far as Port Bannatyne, because literally all the houses on the sea, we lived on the seafront. Literally, you come off the ferry and you turn right and you go past the big woods, and then literally I think it's on one of the really steep corners before you go to, on the route to Port Bannatyne. So we lived on that coastal road there. It was called Woodburn, our house.
Woodburn?
It still is, apparently.
Oh.
A doctor and his family bought our house when we moved.
Oh, really? Are they still there?
I think so.
Do people not tend to move then once they're there? Is that it?
You're trapped.
There's no escape.
Well, the thing is, it's getting better now, but I mean, on the island, you can't buy petrol after 5 o'clock in the evening. You really have to think things through.
It's a bit like that though when we moved to Cornwall. Because everywhere it takes so long to get to with the windy lanes. Like you have to plan your route before you go anywhere, because you're going to be out for half the day. There's no just nipping anywhere when you come off the moor. It takes a while. So it was a bit like that. And because I had a gas car as well, I had to really plan any trips to make sure I had enough gas.
Well, that's the thing, and it's just. I mean, the island boasts quite a. So Lena Zavaroni, she was from the island, and then the actor who plays Victor Melville, he's good friends with Charles and Sheila Murray on the island.
Oh.
They're friends of my mum. Charles is an artist.
So is it that small that everybody knows everybody?
You kind of know everybody, and the thing is that the people who used to work at the telephone exchange used to know everything about everybody.
Wow! Yeah.
But on the island, we have, I think it's only I think the numbers when I was a little boy was only 4 digits long.
Oh wow! Okay. Yeah, not a huge amount.
But in those days, you used to leave what my mum would call a parfait, which is like a big buffet bread, and what you would do is you'd leave your house open at New Year and you would just go house hopping. But that was in the days when, I mean, we used to go on holiday and leave the whole house open because you know it was those kind of things. But then the
Actually,
island,
someone says here that I think it's their brother or someone lived there, and they had great New Year's there. Oh, hey.
it's a lovely, so the Isle of Bute was so I'll just do one last.
He's being well stuffed, isn't he, old Arthur?
He is. So I'll just do that because that's probably annoying everyone like no one's business in the microphone. So you can see that roughly I would stuff him a little bit more. So what I would do is I would push the wadding up a little bit more just to tightly get in as many beans as I can.
Yeah, because the beans will settle to the bottom, won't they?
Yeah.
So that he has a weighty bottom. And lots of us do have a weighty bottom coming out of lockdown. I'm not going to lie. It's a thing. He's got lockdown bottom.
Well, I'm just going to, just so that we get give him a nice shape, I'm just going to, you can do this as well. And also, this helps stop when you're sewing him closed. It also helps keep the beans away from...
Could you just push the plastic down on the beans in front of you?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
One does apologise.
Well, it's fine.
Oh, and also the most famous thing, so the Marquis of Bute, the big house, Mount Stuart on the thing, recently, I don't know why no one ever knew, but they recently found a first edition copy of Shakespeare.
Oh, really?
And that was the one that was famously sold recently, I think, in one of the big auction houses like Sotheby's or somewhere. But yeah.
When I used to work at the RSC, I started off in the bookshop before I went and worked in production. I worked in eight departments there by the time I'd finished, because I wanted to see how the theatre worked before I went off to drama school and sort of sealed my fate, as it was. But the American guests, the number of times that we would be asked if the leather-bound complete works of Shakespeare, gee, is this the original? We're like, more
Didn't think
kind
you'd be
of
holding it.
quill and ink than sort of word. No, and then you'd have to try and explain that without sounding, well, rude, basically. It was tough. It was a tough one.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of American customers at Liberty when I worked there, and it used to drive them nuts. I used to wish them Happy Christmas, because they'd be like, Happy Holidays. And I'd be like, Merry Christmas.
Being terribly British about it, yes. Shirley, Bickerstaff Moore, said that she had a crate at the door. You put a bottle in when you arrive and took one out when you left. The house was open the whole time. That was just it.
That was in the good old days.
Yeah, very good, very good.
So what I'm going to do now, so I've now gotten to the stage where, so I'm going to pretend that we've stuffed them as much as we want,
Okay.
and then we're going to close. So the way I always close, now just get rid of these two.
Do you want to do this in front of that?
Yeah.
So if we move the stuffing out of the way, then we can get a little close up, Alistair. Look
So
at us all high tech and
All right,
whatnot.
so let's work this out. Right, so here we go. Right, so I always start away from where I'm about to come out, so you can just see that I am going to start sewing there. Now the reason why I'm doing that is I never tie a knot in a thread, because we create the knot.
Right.
So I go in one, and then I go in again, and then what I do is I then go through the loop and I pull. That creates the knot on the top, and that's anchored that on there. And then you just keep everything together, and then you just...
Hang on, in a bit.
Whoop.
There we go.
You just...
No, back a
no,
bit.
no, no, no.
There,
Yeah.
perfect.
So then you just equal stitches,
Sort of a whip stitch.
a whip stitch just to keep it closed.
Okay.
And you just make sure they're really, really nice and even. And I'm just going to do mine quickly, because this is one of the boring jobs. So I'll just come back over here, and I'll just, because everyone I think gets that bit, and I'll just quickly close that. So what you can do, if your seams aren't playing ball, just get your scissors and poke that in, and that helps poke your seam back in. That also works when you're using anything with a nap on it, like faux fur, or if you're putting in an insert trim or something like that and you want to keep it flat, use your scissors. Don't poke your finger in, because you'll end up pulling everything out.
Right, okay.
So I'm just going to quickly close there.
Can you speedy stitcher?
Well, the thing is, a lot of couture, we do everything. I'm a big baster.
These and other confessions.
Basting
Wow.
is a technical term for for sewing using a large running stitch, shall we say, which keeps fabric together. You have far more control over it, and it just allows. Although it's one of those old-fashioned things that it takes time to do.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that really special sort of like either silk or chiffon top or things like that, then that's when basting comes into its own, because it doesn't create weight, and it keeps everything exactly where it needs to be.
I'm with you.
So again, I've just tied that knot, and then when I've finished there, I just go back in where I've started the knot and then out somewhere else. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you do this. Now, you can use this technique everywhere. A lot of people just cut off where they have the knot, whereas if you leave a tail inside the work, that will take years to
work
wiggle its way out.
Yeah.
So just have that in your, obviously you'll have matching thread, and you will do far smaller stitches. You can, if you want, just double or triple up your thread, or 4 times, that's not a problem. So you can see that we've got a nice...
Oh, he's looking gorgeous.
A nice little plump pooch. And then, where did I put my ears? Oh, here. So you also have the pattern for the ears. So he needs 2 ears.
Ali says basting is something you do to meat. I tack.
Well, it's like when I was at St Martin's. Obviously, because I came from up north and our fashion tutor always said, because we used to say, I'm just going to iron this. Fashion students don't iron, they press.
Yes. Did you get the look as well?
Oh, we got the look and everything, and then he just wafted his Yoji Yamamoto scarf over himself.
Well, I mean, if you're going to waft anything, waft that.
Exactly.
Now you see, Dan says, now you tack when you sail. You see, we're getting all the terms now. Oh yeah, Linda says that they live in Scotland, but her husband works in England, and he says that his colleagues can't understand him, as they say he talks too fast in his soft Scottish accent. And there was another viewer, where was it? Oh yeah, Susan says that her mother-in-law was Glaswegian, and if she got excited or cross, one or the other, you wouldn't understand half of what she was saying. Yeah, but Susan, would you understand if she was cross or excited? Because you wouldn't want to mix the two up.
That's a difficult one with Scottish. It's like, for instance, it's like if you hear Spanish or Italian people, sometimes you can't decipher whether or not they are actually happy with one another or fighting or what.
You just know they're excitable. Passionate. Yes, passionate. That's it. Passionate.
We'll call it passion.
You're about to get quite passionate with that big long needle there. What?
I am. So
that's a toy sculpting needle, I'm suspecting.
It is. Now this. I came to these late in life in terms of, because I never thought, why would I ever need one or ever have a use for them? But these come in packs of 3, I think. Have you got them on your...
No, it's something I need to source and get up on there.
Okay. Well, we will sort that one out.
Okay.
And literally, the reason for this, as you can see, doing minor surgery, you can go straight through.
Yeah.
But what it does is it allows... Now, what I have done in the past, before I discovered those, I got the largest needle that I could, and literally I ended up squeezing,
yeah.
And then you go like this, and then you go like
then
that.
Then you wiggle it a bit.
And then you go like that, and then when you let it go, you're like, ooh, and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that
Nope.
today. So the longer needles you have, the better. Mm-hmm. Although we are sewing buttons on, and that can be problematic because better check the eye the needle goes through. Yes, it does.
Yeah. You get the buttons in the kit.
You do.
I tried to photograph this really carefully. The only thing we're missing actually in terms of kit from the photos was that I didn't realise that Dougal the doorstop came with buckwheat. So that is my mistake.
No. It's my mistake because I didn't put it in the.
I was being nice.
You're not a mind reader.
Do you know, Emma even asked me. She's like, "Is there no?" I was like, "No, no." You know when you just see part of a conversation and you wonder how they got to that point? Sometimes this happens during the show. And the latest thing is, I think it tastes like germaline. Yuck. I don't know what that is replying to on this Facebook strand, but I don't know. And how do you know what germaline tastes like?
Oh, I know what it smells like.
Do you think it smells as it tases? One of those?
I wouldn't want to know. I tell you what, the smell that I do miss, that I did love when we went to the swimming baths on the island. And I don't know whether or not this is all in swimming baths, but like I couldn't understand why people were up, because when you came upstairs, there was like lots of cubicles, and people were running like baths, but we had a bath at home, and I couldn't understand why, and that's why they were
why
called
didn't you
the
have a bath at home?
Yeah, I just thought, well, why? I was fascinated by these people queuing up to run a bath and have a bath. Because I thought, well, don't you have one in your house? But and then it dawned on me when my mum said, no, not all people have baths or can afford baths. And I thought, gosh,
in this day and
they
age.
still do it. But when we used to go to the swimming baths, they used to hand us with our badges or whatever you like. They used to hand us Qatar soap, a bar of it.
Qatar soap.
The pink one. Is it Qatar? Is it Qatar? It's the really strong smelling. It was a pink bar of soap. Am I saying it right? I must be.
Do you know our viewers on there? Oh gosh, what is it? What's it called?
It's got a really sort of like what's the word? Chemisty smell. Coal tar. Sorry, that's it.
Coal tar
soap.
Oh no, I don't know that
Oh,
one.
I love the smell of that.
Carbolic, says Jeanette. Isn't that an acid? You don't want to be bathing in that. You got to be really coal tar soap.
Yeah.
Oh.
We used to be handed a bar of that, and I used to remember the like it was freezing though. I mean, coming in an Isle of Bute, I mean the changing rooms. It was all Victorian, but change rooms were freezing. It's
Ardbeg whiskey tastes like Germaline. Yeah, Elizabeth would just like to say she does not lick Germaline.
Glad to hear it.
Just like to, yeah, coal tar. So everybody was coming in with the old, yeah.
In fact, I think it was Woolworths. There's two things I used to do. Well, I do this in that big other W store now.
Yeah.
But because my Uncle Jim always used to smell of Old Spice.
Oh yeah,
And
that was it, wasn't it?
I pass, I always just have a smell of it because it is quintessentially. I didn't know anybody else that used to wear it.
Really?
Apart from my Uncle Jim. And that was the smell from my childhood. I always remember Uncle Jim smelling Old Spice and Brill cream. That was it.
It smells are so evocative, aren't they? Karen says that we used to get hot blackcurrant or orange in our swimming baths in Hamilton.
Oh, that was very posh. That cost extra in mine.
Oh, I just go throwing these things around everywhere. Would you like to show up close?
Yes.
Let's have a little close up, shall we? What's going on?
You can see.
So we've got some face shaping basically going on.
Yeah, so you can see here, if I, there you go, you can see there.
Other way. Yeah. There you go.
So you can see there that what I've done is I've nipped in the eye sockets to create eye sockets, which when you see it on the side, you can see that. Now, you can see that I've started, there we go. Ooh, there we go. You can see that I've started coming through there, and then I've gone up to the eye, and then I've gone through the eye, and I've come out at the nose part.
It's very painful, poor little chap.
But it creates the dimension.
Yeah.
And then what you can do, which is very clever, actually, am I here? Right. So what you can do. So I'm going to come. So the trick.
Back a bit. There we go.
Right.
Yay!
So the trick, when you're sewing, you can just about see it. You don't want to be, you don't want to go through the same hole. So you want to grab around about 2 mil of the fabric. Now I'm going to go straight the way through because I've got a really nice long needle. I'm going to flip the ear up.
Oh,
and then
I'm
going to come out near the ear. I was going to. Now, once I've done that, you can start pulling it in as much as you want to create the shape. Now, I've got that in a nice little indentation there. And then what I'm going to do is, there you go, schoolboy error. My thread isn't long enough.
Your needle's too long.
Oh, dearie me.
No.
So anyway, so we can imagine that I'm now I was trying to be clever there. Hiding the knot underneath there.
Yes.
And what it does is it will just hold his nose where it needs to be. And then the only other thing that after that, just going to put the needle in the back there, and that keeps his nose in position. So I'm just going to snip away there. And then you just need to do a little crisscross stitch.
And a little cross. Yeah.
In matching thread. So I can show you on this.
This particular
Arthur.
Arthur.
You see it better on that side. So you can just see a nice little, and it just adds an extra little note to it being hand sewn.
More texture. We're all about the texture today, aren't we?
All about the texture.
Yeah. I just want to think, what would Westwood do?
Well, that's what I asked myself all the time. In fact, I think who was it the other day that said, it was Nigel.
Oh yeah,
Nigel May, and he said, what would Dolly do?
What would Dolly do?
What would Dolly do?
These are all life questions.
Exactly.
Amazing. Claire says, poor puppy, he can't feel anything until his eyes go in. That's how I think about it. Exactly. It always looks quite brutal, doesn't it? But bear with, that's how they get the character. It's fine. A lot of you are soap connoisseurs, it turns out. So coal tar is yellow and the carbolic is the pink one.
It was that then.
And to buy it was called Lifebuoy. I'm learning. Every day's a school day.
Because I always remember having the, if you were posh, I used to think when I went round to my mum's friends' houses, when we went for like a lunch sort of play date thing, you'd go there in their bathroom, they'd have one of because they were a particular shaped bar, and you knew you had been set out a new one. Ooh. And it was imperial leather with the with the foil label in the middle.
Yes.
I thought that was so posh.
My nanny, Mew and Grandad had a magnetic holder in their bathroom, and the imperial leather used to click onto it, so it didn't get in a wet soggy mess on the side. It used to click up there. Gosh, that's taken me back a bit. Wow, we're going back a few years now. Yeah.
So, and also, don't throw out all these scraps.
No.
Because
what can you do with them?
You just sew them randomly all together to create another fabric.
All right, yeah.
Or if you wanted to, what you could do is you can stick them all down and then use a different coloured tape if you wanted to keep it ultra flat. And then you could make matching scent bags to hang on your, because all over my house, I have lots of scent bags with, depending whether if it's Christmas, I've got the Christmas scent, and then summertime we will either use lavender or freesia, and then in winter we'll use the sandalwood, and I've got all these on our doorknobs all the way through the house. So I just think doors are a bit bland, and having that on there is nice. And also if some 11-year-old has a fit and decides to try and slam a door, it doesn't slam.
Perfect.
One to daddy.
Yes. Good job. Actually, I might have to do some of that so that...
Yeah, honestly.
So 1 o'clock this morning, this is the new fun thing that started happening in my household. Emily has started to sleepwalk. Yeah. So I'm now going to have to work out what baby gates I need to put where so that she can't go wandering off.
Bless her, she'll wake up in...
Oh, I know. Well, you're not meant to wake them, are you? When people sleepwalk. So yeah, that was fun. Emma also says, do you have any of the rose scented buckwheat in stock?
Yes, again,
load the same. There you go, Ems. Yes. Yeah, you see, we should do a stock take, shouldn't we, really, after the show? Just make sure that we've got everything that we need. Mm-hmm. Yes. Lovely.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. He looks fabulous.
So you can see how simple that is, and also you don't have to do it in this swatch technique and this way that you put everything together. So you can make it in solids. So if you don't even have to do it in patchwork. So if you've got one fabric you really love, make the whole thing. and add character to them. You can really have fun. You could put moustaches on them. You could put glasses on them.
Oh yeah, a bit of wire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
he would look fabulous with that.
You can do so much. And for instance, you know, if you've got somebody that's leaving at work or retiring or something like that, you could make them something that is unique to them. Like, I don't know, they might wear really, it might be a guy that wears, you know, really funky, loud ties or something.
Yes.
And you would make him a little necktie to go around or something
What about
like
the
that.
ties, isn't it?
Mm. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, fantastic. What else do we need to know this morning?
So, what else do we need to know? So, we have... So the other demonstration that we can get on with is one of the little hot water bottle kits. And this one is really, really, again, it's all deemed to be really, really, really easy. So we will start to crack on with that one.
Oh, fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. We're in for a proper treat, aren't we, today? I shall just discreetly have a little tidy up for you.
Oh, yes.
Give you a little bit more room.
You mean get the staging right, darling?
No, I could just see you running out. Do you need Tormey's...
Oh, no, I don't need any more tissue. Oh, but I will need some of the black cotton again. Lovely.
The socially distant lob it back at you type thing.
So in your pattern,
Yours.
So some of our patterns that we've historically done are how-tos when I do my dressmaking.
Yes.
So, but in these ones, in fact, pretty much all of our small home sewn projects, like for instance the hot water bottles, Arthur, Martha, and Dougal, they come with full pattern pieces.
Right.
So you do not have to, and it comes with all the templates that you'll need in which to create what we're doing. So that is the first thing to mention. Also, as well, I cut off the top. Just a useful tip. Some people will tear that off.
Yes.
Slice the top, because like these are a bit easier than your tissue patterns. You can put everything down, because some of our patterns, they come with thing like small belt.
But you don't lose
pieces,
those
you
bits,
don't want
do
to
you?
lose those.
No.
So it's a good practice to get everything. Are those ones paper?
Yeah, you can. I love that you ask.
Oh no, a first.
Well trained, very well trained. Oh, Elizabeth says, "Oh, good. I thought you were going off then. My heart was starting to sink."
Oh no,
I know, we've got him here now. That's it, Elizabeth. We're not letting him go. Laurie says, enjoying the show so much today, learning more about Alistair and his life and having fun learning about different sayings. Made my day. Thanks for the company. Well, you're very welcome. It's a lovely way to spend the day.
It is, and do you know what? It's been such lovely weather recently. You know, just being able to it's just having that. So I've gone through as you know, it was Latin Day the other day in the studio. So we have Ricky Martin and lots of Latin.
Music to pack up all the orders to.
Yeah. So
yeah, fun times.
So yeah, so we were.
I particularly enjoyed your prodigy morning.
Oh yes, no, that was.
I think you got everything packed up double quick that morning.
Oh, that morning I was like.
We have themed mornings. So because I get up early, Alice is one of the only other people I know that's up at silly o'clock like I am. So we regularly chat for quite a while in the morning. And we always have our music that we listen to. Claire said her dad always used imperial leather to wash the car. Gosh. Never heard of that before. Elizabeth said that you're supposed to put the foil label down to prevent the mess.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, but nobody did they? Everybody always put the foil label up to show that it was imperial leather.
Exactly, because you were posh.
Yeah. Or maybe they were that posh they didn't make a mess. They just cracked open a new one every time.
Well, that's the thing. A bit like your candle situation. In my mum's house, it's the... you've got to watch the the soaps.
Oh yeah, no,
Because a guest once used.
Oh yeah, no, you mustn't use the guest soaps. Goodness sakes. Yeah.
My thing when I was little, whenever my mum went away, because she went away to teaching conferences and things like that, didn't care. My brother and sister, it was all about, I've got sweets or I've got, this, that and the other. Because obviously whenever a parent went away, the expectation as a child, you had to get a present.
Oh yeah.
There's just you're not getting out of that.
No.
You've gone away. You've left the front door.
Yes, therefore you need to bring something back.
Exactly.
I still do it with mine.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So when I went on a recce to Holland to look at the warehouse that I use over there to store a lot of the fabric and get it sent direct dispatch from there, which now, because of the situation, comes now to me before it then gets dispatched out. But that's a whole other story. I had to bring them stuff back. They both had a Miffy the rabbit. Who knew that Miffy was from Holland? I didn't know.
Miffy's.
Emily had an air hostess and Freddie had a pilot. There's a in Miffy bunny terms. I know. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? So we're cutting out more stuff.
So I'm not doing anything overly particularly interesting. I'm just cutting out my templates. I'm just marking up my fabric, and then we'll really get going.
So we're making the Santa in his jazzy pants.
Yeah. So it's really easy to do. It's just when you the tricky part is when you're doing the feet.
Right.
Because obviously, so you can see his little digi feet.
I love him.
He's really cute, and to be honest, young or old, I just think it's just a lovely thing.
And everybody should have a hot water bottle at Christmas anyway.
Yeah, for instance, when you're all sat there watching the Christmas movies and things like that, or
Die Hard and other Christmas movies.
Classic.
Yes.
But the early ones, not the brand new one with Samuel L. No, the one with his son. Although there was a shooty scene where they had this giant chandelier that just came crashing to the floor.
Nothing says Christmas like a good shooty scene.
Exactly.
Does it? No.
I'm going to say the Wasabi building, but it wasn't called that, was it?
No, I know what you mean.
It was the Taka something building.
Yeah.
That one.
But whilst you're snuggling down, yippee-yi-yay, watching Die Hard, and Elf is another favourite.
Yes.
Love that.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Ah, never got into that.
Oh God, no, that gets me every time.
Okay, all right. I'll have to watch that then.
It's just, it's one of those films with a little girl with a lisp.
Yeah, it's cute on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's proof that Santa does exist. So the tricky bit is when you're doing this, you're sandwiching a lot of because the feet are obviously stuffed when you put them in. So when they're effectively inside, and you're trying to sew around, and you've trapped these all inside, that's the little bit.
You've trapped the feet inside. Amazing. Yeah.
So that's the bit you just have to take a little bit of care of, because it feels a bit as if this is going to go, but you'll do it.
You'll be fine. Jeanette says Polar Express.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with that one.
Oh, you're not loving it?
I did, yeah. I do like it, but I just, yeah. Just
obviously not that much. Home Alone? Oh, there you go. You've hit upon one there. Home Alone.
Home Alone. Say no more. Although my son, when we first started watching the Home Alone, it's the worst film to actually introduce children, especially people that have...
Not ones that have any imagination.
Oh, the ones with imagination are the ones that you really...
That's what I mean. If when they've got imagination, no.
The traps that were set for us at Christmas.
Fun times.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
Not when you needed to spend a penny in the evening and you had to get all the way. Not good. And then of course they're fast asleep.
Yeah.
And then
you can't check with them what they've done.
because they've been quiet for hours whilst you've been cooking and tidying up and trying to get the house back to some,
Should that
fit
not
state.
have given you some kind of clue? The fact that you've said that.
Yeah, but as parents, you never learn. You just, it's one of those
It's
things.
the worry of when they're quiet. Even Freddie knows that if Emily's quiet, that we need to be careful.
Yeah, there's just something about that. But the best thing is if you ever want to know where your children are, just sit down. They will find you as soon as you relax.
Or get a bar of chocolate out.
Oh yeah.
That's the other thing. Sweet papers, rustling.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen a toddler move so fast. How does she know? Shirley says, could you make a lined waistcoat out of the tartan material, please? What now? I don't think we've got enough left over.
You can do. What you need to do with that, now for instance, there is a bit of interfacings and interlinings are not just there to add bulk.
Right.
They're not there to stiffen things up. That's a misconception a lot of people have.
Right.
But with a lot of fabrics, for instance, even silk sometimes, if you're doing like a little Peter Pan collar or something like that, you just need the light. It almost feels as if, why am I bothering putting this on? Because it's so lightweight. It's all about looking at the fabric and the stability that fabric needs.
So it's just adding on that stability. It's not adding bulk. It's just adding that stability, because when it's a woven fabric, it can be more movable.
Yeah, and it might just need, so for instance, with this tartan, if I was to put a very lightweight fusing on the back, it would handle ever so slightly differently. So at the moment, I can wiggle it like that.
Yeah.
We don't want to interfere with the softness or the touch of it or the malleableness of it. But if I put a lightweight fusing on the back, it just gives it enough body and weight to do what it is doing. But it just stabilizes it.
So there we go. So Shirley, if you do want to make a waistcoat out of the tartan, then yes, but put a lightweight interfacing on it first. So Mandy wants to know, Alistair, what did your mum bring back for you when she went away?
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah,
got mid-story there.
I was always a bit of a strange kid. I always wanted the mini bottle of shampoo and conditioner with the shower gel, and a bonus matching if I got the soap.
Yes.
She wasn't allowed to use it when she was there. No. That was my...
Yeah.
And I had a whole crate of it at one point. And then obviously I left to university and my mum car booted it all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mum. That's the strange thing, isn't it? When your parents move house after you've moved out.
Okay. Because it then doesn't... Because the house you grew up in doesn't...
Yeah. And also because I remember when my mum and dad first moved to Cornwall and sold the family home, and I was like, I'm sure this isn't right. I'm sure I shouldn't have to use sat-nav to find my mum and dad. What's going on? It took me several trips before I could actually find them down all these little windy Cornish lanes. I don't know. I feel a bit lost. Which bit are we doing, Alistair?
Right, so I'm going to show everyone how to make the little booties. And I'm just going to get myself right. So the best way, so that you see what I'm doing there, I was figuring out whether or not I had a pair. So I'm only going to do, how are we for time?
Whatever you like. That's an hour out, by the way. So it's 3 minutes off midday.
Right, okay. So you can see that I know that I've got a left and a right, if you like, on these ones. So I know that is a pair. So I'll show you how to make a pair first. So in the pattern, you can see that, so you need one black bootie, and then that's effectively...
Do you want to do a little close-up so that we can see that?
So you've got your little black bootie.
Bootie, yeah.
And then you've also got here your tartan trews, as they call them.
Trews? I love that they are shaped. He's been working out.
Yeah, he's got,
Yeah.
Good shapely thighs.
Yeah.
So you can use a pin if you want, but I'm just going to
You going straight for it?
I'm going to free
Do it.
wheel.
You don't care, do you? Now you've worked out how to use my
well,
sewing machine.
don't jinx it, because this is where it's all going to go.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
This is where it's all going to go horribly, horribly. Ooh. There we go. Right, so we're going to do that part, and then I'll just sew up the other one. So it's important to match those seams first. Now you can, if you want, once these seams are done, you can press the seams open if you wish.
Right.
It really doesn't matter. Now the reason why it doesn't matter so much is because we're going to fill it with stuffing,
Right.
and it's gonna push out all of the seamage anyway, so it's not going to interfere with it at all.
Okay. Shirley says, many thanks. Now I need to source a plain green material for trousers. And there's lightweight interfacing on my website as well.
Yeah.
Shirley, if you need that, by the way.
So that would be ideal. So you just want to make sure, because obviously, you know, you check it and measure it twice. You just make sure that the seams all match.
Mm-hmm.
So you just make sure that the seams all match. And then you just place a pin. And I put one of the seam allowances going one way, one of the other, because these are such small pieces, this just allows this to flow a little bit better. And then I'm going to sew around the entire piece.
Okay.
Whilst remembering that I just need to put my foot on the pedal.
Yeah, you know, that's going to help. You don't drive a car though, do you, Alistair? So, you
don't,
it's all good.
Everyone, I think me on a road in a vehicle operating it, I think that day has yet to come. And I think everybody is
safe.
I think everyone's safe for now. Because obviously I'm a front. Is it a front seat driver? No.
Back seat driver, but sitting in the front.
Yes. And I do this really annoying thing where, well, can't you just park there?
Yeah,
like,
what's the matter with you? Yeah, it's a bike-only space. Oh.
We're only there for 5 minutes. No, I'm not doing it. So we've sewn all the way around, so you can see that nicely with all the grace. Now I'm just going to some people call this scanting, or the best way to describe it, we're just going to trim about 5 millimeters away from the raw edge.
Could you use pinking shears if you wanted to?
Yeah, you can
instead or whatever.
Yeah, you can use pinking shears. You can, if you want to use, I mean, I've found over the years, so I'll show you now what I've sort of found out, because I use this sort of like rolling sort of technique to push everything out, which clipping into concaves and
yes, that's traditionally what
you would do. But sometimes I find that actually when you pull the work through, sometimes actually using your fingers and rolling the seam back on itself inside actually produces.
One, is it?
Yeah. I mean, some curves really need extra clipping as well. But I've also found sometimes that clipping, depending on the size of your object that you're doing, can sometimes actually interfere with it, and it can actually rip your seam.
Right, yeah, so just be careful.
It can be, yeah, that's the key with all of that, is just to make sure that you are being careful. So what I mean by this rolling...
Rolling.
So you can see that we've got the curve there. Now all I do, in between, if anyone's ever rolled a cigarette, that's the best way to describe it. If you haven't...
what a very pure life you've led.
You have. If you've made
I don't know.
I
You're on
don't
your.
think there's I'm on my own there. Just leave me hanging there. Right. So what I'm doing, you can see there that I'm actually right now. When I can feel with my my thumbs, is I can actually feel the seam actually rolling back on itself.
Right. Yeah.
And what that does is it's stretching all that seam allowance in there. It's creating a really, really well, a much better perimeter. And it's just as you can do it with, you can use this technique pretty much with all the different ones. Plus also, for instance, even if you've clipped and what have you, and then you find out that, oh, it's still a wee bit bulky, then you can use that, and you can see that that is quite a really quite nice shape we've got going on there.
It is a lovely shape. Yeah.
So now we're going to, got my mic trapped there. Oh, may I have the stuffing back, please?
Oh, you want everything, you do. Hang on.
I know.
Ooh. Incoming.
Thank you. Right, so I'm just going to use...
Socially distanced stuffing.
Exactly. So I'm just going to use, now again, as I say, little and often.
Okay.
So I'm just going to start. Now we want to get right up into the toe, and that's the first bit. Now, if you were to put a great big chunk of wadding in there, that would just be, it would just end up, it ends up like a mess. And when you feel something, it doesn't feel properly stuffed.
Yeah.
It just feels as if, what's that? Not very good.
So little and often.
Little and often, and you get a far better shape. Now this is high quality toy stuffing. This isn't a coarse version, which means that the hairs will compact and plump out nicely, whereas some of the other toy stuffing you get, some of it's like that concertina stuff that it goes everywhere, and it's that's not very nice to work with. But this stuff is really nice. But you can see actually from how much I started with, that's all gone. So I need a bit more to pop inside. But you don't want to when you get up to the you've got the shin there, but when you get up to the sort of like thigh area, the mid thigh, you want to start tapering off because you want the legs to be able to dangle and wobble. You don't want them to be stiff. You want Santa to be nimble. So I'll just put a little bit more. So I'm going to stop there so you can see inside here. You can see that I've left, there's about an inch.
Oh. Yep, I'm there, yep.
You can see there's about an inch depth inside. And then when we flatten that out, you can see that that'll give a good wobble.
Well, wobbly thighs.
And it's
all about the wobbly thigh.
So then we move on. Then what we'll do is we'll move on to, so I'll show you lots of bits and pieces of this rather than showing you the whole kit and caboodle. So first of all, the pattern asks you to, that's the wrong way around, we're folding over the fleece that if you've got it in a kit. We need to bring you fleece as well.
Do you know, I was thinking that the other day, but I was also thinking about one of the other projects that we had been talking about and thinking I was going to wait until some of that came to fruition.
Oh, yes.
Yes. We can't give away all our secrets of things that are to come. We plan all sorts of things. It's very exciting. So I'm basically doing some sort of charade for Alistair to guess what I'm saying.
And I just look at her blankly and go...
Which is a look I'm used to. So it's fine. Oh, Fiona says sorry, she's got to go.
Oh.
But thank you for another great show.
Sorry.
We'll catch up on everything I missed later. Well, that's okay. I love how people apologise for being late and say sorry when they've got to go. I had someone come and interview for a job here the other day, and she'd obviously done her homework and looked at the site and looked at the comments on the shows. And she's like, "You've got such a lovely following." I was like, "I know. Our viewers are just the best. They're just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And so supportive of one another as well. And when we come on air on a Monday and Tuesday, it's like we know each other all now. It's really nice. In fact, who I haven't seen come on board this morning is Australian April. I hope she's all right. She's normally here. Now, what are you doing over there, mister?
So I am just pinning now. I'm just roughly pinning the fleece. The tartan onto the fleece. So in your pattern, you will be given. Just cut that off. So in the pattern, you'll be given this. You get where the boot placement needs to be, and
there's all the details in there. Then.
Yeah, and then you also get the placement line of where you need to cut and put your tartan.
Right.
Now, we don't need to seam the tartan first because we're going to cover that seam.
Oh, with the ribbon.
With the ribbon.
Beautiful.
So, I'm going to quickly sew down the ribbon onto, and I'm going to put a couple of extra pins on there. It is really simple to do. What I'm going to sew, here we are. Now, I've got grey thread because obviously it'd be really boring if I let you watch me threading up a machine that I have no idea how you do so. So we're going to go with grey.
Hey, I like to think it's so that people can see your stitching, Alistair. That's what we like. I like a nice contrasting thread.
Yeah, to see how straight I get my actual...
We're not judging. We're not here to judge.
When you're sewing in a hurry...
Yeah.
You know, everyone's looking at, oh, I wonder how it's,
Call himself a professional.
Exactly,
Oh,
look at...
Wouldn't want a suit made by him. He can't even sew straight.
Well, I never made a suit standing up and sewing at the same time, so I think you'd be...
Oh, with viewers and everything.
And everything.
And everything. That's just not fair, is it? Do you know what though? I've got so used to it. I love sewing standing up now.
Yeah, it's actually sometimes you get so sort of like if you like lazy that you just think, well, it saves me having to sit down.
Just think of the time you can save in not sitting down. I quite like it with the grey thread.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's a look.
You see, we've done a Westwood.
We have done a Westwood. That's gonna be my turn. Would you just like to flash it in front of the
yes,
so that we can see your Westwood? Very nice. Oh, look, beautifully straight. I'd like to say, Alistair.
Thank you very much.
It's like you've done it before. There you
go. Right, so I've just got to go in my man bag and get my yellow felt because I knew I had forgotten it, and then that was my last thing that I plonked in my bag. Now I'm just going to protect. So I'm not going to cut out the buckle.
Yeah,
is a fancy buckle.
It is a fancy buckle.
So I'm not going to waste everyone's time creating it. So I'm just going to pretend that this is a fancy
fancy
schmancy buckle. So I'm going to cut this down a wee bit more. And then all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to take out a I'm going to take out there and there. I'm going to just quickly create a little buckle just so you've got the idea of what you would be doing if you were following the pattern and cutting things out. So I'm just going to snip into there and into there. Right, so that should give me a little buckle. Now you can do this. You can, if you didn't want to cut the fancy one out. So what I like to do with the fancy one is I like to use a little bit of temporary adhesive spray. Now, if you're going to do this, then you need to make a copy of the buckle if you're going to make more.
Right.
So I I put temporary spray. So I cut it out roughly, put some temporary spray on, I attach it to my felt, and then I cut it out.
Ah, okay.
And then that gets me how I get the crisp thing. Because sometimes if you're going to chalk that, it will take a lot of time.
Bit tricky.
So if you like, so that there's our buckle. Obviously, you'll be a lot neater. So I'll pin the buckle on. And then you can see, and then all I do is I just top stitch. I just top stitch that with white thread into position.
Right.
So 2 layers, one in the outer and one in the inner.
Yeah.
So once you've done that, that's absolutely fine. So then what we'll do now, I'm going to just run a sewing machine. I'm just going to run the sewing machine down this edge here, because what I find is sometimes with the added bulk of a leg and a foot, you want just to have that held in place.
You're showing everyone what's underneath his kilt.
I didn't think.
Flashing. Goodness me. Elizabeth says, tiny snips with those massive scissors, the man could cut hair.
I have been.
You have been. You have been. Yeah.
Although I was very apprehensive about anybody getting near my barnet, so
Your barnet looks great.
Well, no, I had to put in some extra measures.
Oh, did you?
So I literally bobby pinned 2 side partings and my hair up, and then we did the whole shaving thing, which I was like this, and then I cut the top myself.
Wow. Well done. Uh-oh, I hear Eric on the move.
So, I'm just going to attach, so where do we want that? So we want that to go the outside, so we'll put that one here. Now I'm just going to attach one, just to give everyone an idea. Now the important thing is where you've got the belt buckle, you want that to match.
Right.
So that's an important thing to match up. And then we just... Is that Arthur?
Yeah, Arthur's having a scratch, and I can hear Eric having a wander around over there, which makes me nervous. I don't know what the birthday boy's up to. Emily now just calls him Eek. Eek! It's what we get. And she can't say HP, so she just calls the cat P. So we've got Eek and P in our house. That's how it goes. Oh, Claire said that she had to try and cut her boy's hair and her husband's hair. I know the theory. And it came out quite well. Yeah, I did Freddie's. Freddie, my grandma during the war used to, she used to sort of cut the kids that were being sent, oh God, what's the word that I want? That had to go and stay at other people's houses.
Evacuated.
Yeah, the evacuees. She used to sort of give them knit cuts, so that, you know, to make sure they didn't have knits before they were like a good, very, very short crop. And yeah, Freddie's was a bit like that. And I don't know if it will grow back all nice and blonde again. He's going dark like his daddy.
Well. Okay.
So that was the tricky leg situation.
That was the tricky leg situation.
Oh, hang on. There we go.
Ooh. And then, so obviously he's a one-legged Santa.
Maybe he's just got the other leg down a chimney somewhere.
But this could be a Minions version. Because they have sort of like strange, sort of like one eyes and things like that. So you could make a Minions.
A Minions one-legged
so
Santa.
You could make that yellow fleece and then make it. So.
Freddie would love that.
So you can see that obviously you want to end up here, but we've got a one-legged.
A one-legged floppy-thighed Santa.
On this side, and then we've got his this two-legged one here.
Amazing.
And literally, that's all you do. So then the other, the only thing to mention, I always bang on about this tab technique. And essentially what my tab technique is that when you're attaching bias binding, there are a lot of people who, they will cut it to the exact size, miter it, do all of that. For the life of me, I've only ever a few times been able to, when you actually get to the point where you've joined, you either get that bump where there's too much, or there's the worst one is when there's too little, but then having to open that back up and then try and get
Stuff
it
a bit more in,
So what I do is I add a little scrap, a little tab of bias here, and then I start it in the middle, and then I go all the way around and finish it in the middle, and then this here just covers the raw edges, and I just slip stitch that over.
Oh, okay.
And it's the neatest, and I use that in all my garments. I use that in the back of the neck. Always put it on to somewhere like the back.
Yeah.
Don't put it slap bang in the middle at the front or anything like that. And then I use that all the time.
Yeah.
And that's just perfect.
Lovely. Very nice. So that's, and so that, I mean, it's the thing with the fleece is that it doesn't fray anyway. So it's just adding that nice finishing touch. So then you can just slip the water bottle in and then tie the bow around it.
Yep, tie the ribbon. Now, so on the pattern, there is a placement line here on the pattern, and that attaches the ribbon on the back.
Right.
And please do that. You can leave it loose if you want, but please do that because then you're less likely to lose the ribbon.
Lose the ribbon, yes.
Anchoring it onto the back.
Fabulous.
And that,
as they say,
is that.
Elizabeth says it looks like a turkey leg.
Don't listen to her.
Just the one. She's obviously got hopping turkeys where she lives.
Hopping Santa.
But she also says that she loves your finish and your rings. So there we go. Do you know what? That's the first comment we've had about your rings today. Normally everybody's commented about your rings. They are beautiful. Right, Alistair, thank you so much. Everything is available on the website, www.natashamakes.com. We've got the tartan, we've got Arthur, we've got Martha, we've got Dougal, we've got Santa and the elf. We also have the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Christmas scent. And we've also got the jute ribbon, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and the whole 10-metre rolls that you're buying, so that price is for the whole 10 metres. They should be double that.
Right.
But they're not.
Because you love us.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And what else have we got on there?
Well, everything Emma.
Everything. Whatever else Emma's put up. Lavender and the rose scent.
Some of that.
We've never put up your freesia scent, actually.
Oh, well, we have that. Emma.
Emma, we need to load some freesia scent, please. I'll get on to that. Janet says, thank you very much for a lovely morning. Oh, yeah, I've had a lovely day. Thank you so much. Yes. And Christine says, thank you, Alistair McDonald. So lovely to see you. Well, no, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching as well. I will see you bright and early. Well, I say early. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But Alistair, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've now got to work out how to turn. Oh, Emma says she's on it. I've now got to work out how to turn everything off because, of course, my technical support is at school. And Stephen's on the school run because he's not doing a full day yet. So bear with. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.